NURUL HAZIRAH binti YUSUF 286243. Wealth inequality is a significant issue in Malaysia, where a small portion of the population holds a disproportionate amount of the country's wealth. This imbalance creates various social problems, such as inadequate access to healthcare, education, and housing for low-income groups. One effective way to address the gap is through the implementation of wealth and inheritance tax, which can help redistribute resources and promote a more equitable society. Two powerful ethical theories is utilitarianism and justice that provide strong moral support for this approach. Utilitarianism, which emphasizes the maximization of happiness and the reduction of suffering, can serve as a moral foundation for wealth redistribution. In the case of Malaysia, the concentration of wealth among a few individuals directly impacts the well-being of many, particularly the disadvantaged segments of society. By imposing tax on the wealth, the government can fund public goods like healthcare, education, and infrastructure, which benefit to everyone, thereby improving overall societal well-being. The aim is to ensure that the majority of people experience great happiness and less suffering. Another important ethical framework also supports wealth and inheritance tax. NURUL advocates for the fair distribution of resource and opportunity, with a particular focus on helping the most disadvantaged members of society. According to this concept of the veil of ignorance, policymakers should design systems as though they do not know their own social position. This would likely lead to policies that promote greater inequality, as individuals would want to safeguard themselves from the possibility of being among the disadvantaged. Wealth and inheritance tax align with the principle by ensuring that the rich contribute more to society, helping to reduce inequality. To implement this tax effectively, a balanced approach is necessary to avoid negative consequences. For example, excessive tax might discourage investment or lead to capital flight. However, policy can be designed to mitigate these risks, such as fair tax and offering incentive for local investment. By carefully structuring tax, the government can ensure that wealth redistribution doesn't harm economic productivity but instead foster long-term prosperity for all. In conclusion, utilitarianism and justice provide sound ethical support for the introduction of wealth and inheritance tax in Malaysia. Utilitarianism emphasizes the need for wealth distribution for maximum happiness while restoring trust, fairness, and the protection of the most vulnerable. By combining these principles, Malaysia can create a tax system that reduces inequality, promotes social welfare, and ensure a more just and prosperous society for all its citizens. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Li Xing. My matching number is 290076. According to my moral standards, I will talk about why I against wealth tax. Basic of the fact and the basic of my moral standards, I'm against wealth tax because the disadvantages of implementing wealth tax outweigh its advantages. Basic of the fact, I have 3 points to prove why we meet against wealth tax. The first one is capital outflow and the loss of national wealth. A wealth tax may lead to the transfer of assets abroad, as seen in France, reducing national wealth and tax revenue. And the second one is negative impact on investment and economic growth. Higher tax discourages investments, destabilizes markets, and hinder overall economic growth. And the third one is social dissatisfaction and policy instability. Perceptions of unfairness in tax policy can increase popular discontent, harm social cohesion, and destabilize government policies. So that's all for the fact, and then I will talk about my moral standards, I have the 2 points to prove why I against the wealth tax. The first point is infringement on personal property rights. The second point is erosion of social responsibility and trust. About the first point, wealth tax undermines personal freedom by taxing legitimately earned property. And the second point, high tax may reduce the charitable domination, weakened trust in the government, and intensified social tensions, undermining harmony and fairness. So that's all from me, from my moral standards to prove my opinions. And then my group members will introduce them more. So that's all from me, and thank you for your watching. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Ganrije and my metri number is 292313. Today, I would like to share my moral judgment on wealth inequality and discuss the question of whether a wealth tax is the most effective solution to address this issue. According to my moral standard, I think wealth distribution should respect personal rights and liberties in order to improve the social welfare system. Hence, I personally object to the wealth tax as a way to solve it, as it is unjust and ineffective. Besides, my moral decision approach is based on striking a balance between fairness and actual outcomes. First, consider the global evidence as factual information. In 2018, France abolished the wealth tax and replaced it with a real estate wealth tax. Sweden eliminated the wealth tax as a result of high net worth individuals fleeing the country. The Norwegian government raised the wealth tax by 1%, resulting in a billionaire exodus. The moral value is that the liberalism of wealth tax violates individual property rights by forcibly seizing acquired riches and determining the moral value of economic liberty and fairness. Second is the Malaysian economic structure and current tax. Malaysia levies several taxes like corporate and individual income tax, sales and service tax (SST), withholding tax, real property gain tax, and stamp duty. The implementation of a wealth tax could potentially shift the wealth growth instead of properly dispersing it. Hence, the moral value of the Rawson theory of justice is that wealth tax prioritizes the redistribution of outcome overtaking the core cause of inequality. The third are the redistributive policy of zakat in Malaysia. It means to redistribute income between the rich and the needy, while also cleaning the rich of people who pay zakat. In Malaysia, they have two types of zakat, which are zakat fitrah and zakat harta. These are culturally acceptable, effectively poverty alleviation measures that do not penalize wealth accumulation. From the perspective of consequentialism, zakat achieves desired goals without the negative consequence of punitive measures like wealth tax. In conclusion, wealth tax is unjust and morally problematic since it violates individuals' right to property and freedom. The alternative approach is fairer, such as expanding education possibilities, encouraging equitable work prospects, and enacting income tax reforms, which can effectively reduce wealth inequality. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
I am NURUL HANAPI and my metric number is 292751. So today I will present my position in support of wealth and inheritance taxes. These taxes are essential to addressing severe inequality caused by the over concentrations of wealth. A small number of individuals or entities control most resources, leaving lower income groups struggling for basic necessities like housing, healthcare, and education. So, implementing wealth and inheritance taxes is both a practical and fair way to address this issue. So, for the main argument, my position is grounded in two key areas, which is ethical moral reasoning, and the second one is research-based observations. So, from a research perspective, countries like Sweden and Norway have demonstrated that welfare state redistribution policies can reduce poverty and promote social justice without negatively impacting economic growth. In contrast, Malaysia lacks similar policies which allows intergenerational wealth transfers to perpetuate inequality. So this highlights the role of the wealth gap in sustaining social disparity. So from an ethical standpoint, wealth and inheritance taxes are a societal responsibility. Real equality means opportunities are determined by one's work and talent, not birthright. These taxes help redistribute wealth to those in need, fostering a more just society. Ethical justifications. Wealth and inheritance taxes align with ethical theories. The first theory is Aristotle's virtue ethics. So in these theories, justice is a virtue that benefits the community, and taxation ensures resources are distributed fairly to promote societal well-being. So the second theory is from Kantian deontology. So in this theory, moral actions are ethical duties, and sharing wealth addresses societal imbalances and ensures fairness. So both theories emphasize the importance of justice, fairness, and moral responsibility in creating a balanced society. So evidence from research and practice evidence from Sweden and Norway supports the effectiveness of wealth redistribution. Poverty minimization and social justice are achievable. No adverse effect on economic growth. So in Malaysia, the absence of such policies has allowed wealth gaps to persist, preventing equal opportunities for all. So, to conclude, wealth and inheritance taxes are not just ethical but also practical tools for addressing inequality. They promote justice, fairness, and equal opportunities, creating a more inclusive society. By implementing these policies, Malaysia can take a significant step toward reducing inequality and ensuring that everyone has access to basic needs and opportunities.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad IKHWAN bin SUHAIMI and my matric number is 295418. I strongly support the introduction of wealth and inheritance tax in Malaysia as a necessary step to address the growing inequality in our society. Currently, a small group of families control a disproportionate share of the nation's wealth, while many Malaysians struggle to access basic needs like education and healthcare. By taxing the wealthiest, we can redistribute resources and create a more equitable society with equal opportunity for all. This approach is morally justified. The wealthiest 1% control over 40% of the national wealth, trapping many people in poverty. According to John Rawls' theory of justice, inequality is only acceptable if it benefits the least advantaged. A wealth tax will help close this gap, ensuring that the rich contribute more to public services that benefit everyone, especially the poor. From a utilitarian perspective, taxing the wealthy would generate revenue for essential services like education, healthcare, and improving overall societal welfare. I believe the long-term benefit of reducing inequality and enhancing public services far outweigh these concerns. In the end, wealth and inheritance tax are a crucial step toward building a more just and equitable in Malaysia. Moreover, the introduction of such tax could serve as a catalyst for a broader long-term shift in Malaysia economic and social policies by ensuring wealth is more fairly distributed. We can create an environment where everyone, regardless of their background, has access to the tools necessary to success. This will foster greater social mobility, reduce poverty, and ultimately lead to a stronger and more cohesive nation. That's all from. Thank you.